So Connor joined my mastermind, won it. He said, I'm going to win it. And of course he did. He won the challenge. But what he does is he actually, it's interesting. Him and his father have had a business. He 20 years ago started doing content creation, a lot of things on LinkedIn, and really helping building brands for people. But another thing he did for me is he actually put together, it was a pitch event. So it was a pitch event where he brought in people. They pitched me for, what did we go at, like 3 hours, and a lot of different people that were pitching me. But he filled that event in like 4 weeks. 3 weeks. 3 weeks through LinkedIn stuff. I gave him access to my LinkedIn. He filled it. And I was just really impressed with it. So I wanted him to come up today to share his experience on his background, what he's done with video, and how it could relate to you. So please help me welcome Connor Dube. Thanks, buddy.
Are we on? Can you hear us? Cool. So, you guys are like, what's in the bag? Oh, I can't open it. That doesn't help. Come on, baby, come on. It's like Christmas Day. I found this brick. I found this brick outside of my Airbnb. And you know you're always involved in an awkward moment where you gotta like look around to see who's watching you? They probably caught me on Airbnb camera. They're like, what is this weirdo doing? I'm like going around sorting, trying to find bricks. But I found this, I saw this brick and it reminded me, oddly, of content and marketing and video marketing. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. What I want you to do first is just, imagine you're holding this brick. Hold your hand out real quick, right? You're holding the brick, I'm holding the brick. Feel the weight of it. It's kind of cool to the touch. A little bit kind of grainy, smells earthy. I don't know what it tastes like, but we're not going to find out. Now, I want you to envision yourself. Close your eyes real quick. You're still holding your brick. Envision yourself standing over a massive, the Grand Canyon. I'm actually living in Arizona right now, so we'll go with the Grand Canyon. Imagine standing over the Grand Canyon, and I want you to take your brick and toss it into the Grand Canyon. Now grab another one. Got another brick, magically appeared, regenerated like a video game. Toss that into the Grand Canyon as well. And what I want you to do, your objective is to fill up the Grand Canyon with bricks. How long is that going to take you? How much time is that going to take you? How many bricks is that going to take you to fill up the Grand Canyon? Probably quite a bit. And I was thinking about this. This is very much how we're going about our marketing, right? We're chucking in content, right? The Grand Canyon is like the digital world. We underestimate how deeply vast and deep it is. And so what I want to help you guys to do here is to quit chucking bricks in the Grand Canyon. So if you want to write that down really quick, stop throwing bricks in the Grand Canyon. Write that down really quick. So I'm in this world, last few years, I'm in this world of B2B sales and marketing. It's very different. It's a lot longer sales cycles, and you can't just be, in order to be successful with marketing, just throwing stuff out there and hoping that you're reaching the right people. It's a very targeted activity. So with my background, everything, I want to help you guys to be able to narrow that down and just talk a little bit about what I've done with video, how I've leveraged video in order to get deeper and to be focused more on swimming pools, filling up with my information and getting depth and impact versus filling up the Grand Canyon. So I actually started my entrepreneur journey, ironically enough, with rocks at the age of 7. I took rocks from my neighbor's yard, painted them, sold them, and I raised $150 for the rebuild efforts at 9/11. And that was my dive in entrepreneurship. I've always been passionate, started some businesses over the years. I went from selling rocks at 7 to a suicide attempt at 18. and wasn't pursuing my passions for a period of years, and that caused a lot of depression, anxiety, and did a lot of personal development work, a lot of efforts into getting myself to where I am today. But when I left for college, I'd kind of overcame those challenges, those roadblocks. I went to college and I found myself doing door-to-door sales because those guys were making bank doing door-to-door sales. I'm like, I want to make some money. So I did door-to-door sales for 2.5 years in a position where most people don't last 2.5 weeks. And I was eventually promoted in that company. I helped their event marketing team add an additional $5.8 million in a year and a half. And I came to realize something through there, which I think was actually more profound than my college education, was, I'd go to somebody's door, I'd knock on their door. Does this work? I usually have a microphone. Cool. Knock on someone's door, and they'd be like, dude, what are you doing here? You guys were just here last week. You guys were, at the Home and Garden show. And I've had 3 people come in the last month, and isn't that your flyer in my mailbox? And isn't that your television commercial on TV? And blah, 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 there's all this. He's like listing out all these things to me. And I'm like, and then he says, oh, actually, you know what? I get it. We need windows. Sign me up for a window appointment. I'm like, whoa, a light bulb went off, not out. Hopefully not out. It went out there for a second. This guy saw us show up 10, 15, 20 times over a period of time and eventually decided to do business with us. So I'm like, that's really interesting. The thing that we're missing the most, that the majority of us is really missing, is reach to enough of the right people, which is one of the best ways to reach people is with video, of course. I'm going to talk on that really quick. And consistency, the ability to consistently be able to get in front of people, because time, money, need, opportunity, all these things have to align, especially in the world of B2B sales, which if you're not doing B2B sales right now, hopefully you find a way to do that. Because if you're selling coaching, for example, and you want to do bigger business, I can sell coaching to one person, or I can sell for $10,000, or I can sell coaching to a company for $100,000, right? So that's why I love B2B sales. I lost my train of thought there. Okay, so what I started experiencing here was reach. Can you guys say reach for me really quick? Reach and consistency. Reach and consistency. These are the missing pieces. When I fast forward a couple years, left college, started in the business world, joined up with my dad, we partnered up. I'm like, how can I get this explosive growth? What I started doing is I started using LinkedIn, which if you're talking about Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, paid ads, if you're doing B2B business, LinkedIn is one of the most powerful platforms, because for $79 a month using Sales Navigator, I can go out and I can reach many. What am I doing on time? I think I started my clock. Okay, cool. I can reach exactly the target that I want to get in front of using LinkedIn, right? If you've ever looked at, anyone use Sales Navigator on LinkedIn? No. Okay, so this is beautiful. Go home, look up Sales Navigator. If you want to do some bigger deals, you can find the CEO, CIO, CISO, director of IT, not only the decision makers that you want to reach, but also the influencers around those decision makers. I realized I can't really go door to door and meet these folks. Like, we have clients all over the world. It'd be pretty expensive to do that. We're a small family business. And so I started knocking on digital doors with my mug, right? I'd connect with someone on LinkedIn, and instead of doing what everybody else does or did, anyone gotten a bad LinkedIn pitch before? You're like, who the hell? Kevin, how many pitches do you get every day on LinkedIn?
Probably 3 to 5. I mean, we get dozens a week.
Probably tons, right? Yeah, and so what I did to break through the noise is the same thing I recognized in doing door-to-door sales. I used my face, I used my personality, and I started pitching people on LinkedIn with video. And then I started realizing, oh, okay, I'm kind of building an audience here. I should probably use video for consistency so that I can stay in front of them. Some of these guys who I'm talking to, they're like, hey, I'm not ready to roll right away. Come talk to me in 6 months or whatever. So I'd use video. In fact, I was, Ralph's gone, right? But I loved Ralph's example of how his bad video was out first. If you go to my YouTube channel and you look up some of my older videos, they're haunting compared to what I do now. And I was paying $500 to do a video. Now I just grab my cell phone and be authentic, and it works. You can do both. So I used video, and then I realized I had the interest that was building. How do I take this to the next level? I had interest, I was video pitching, that was working, we were getting some deals trickling in. I had interest, but how do I get influence? I didn't come from a very well-connected family. Didn't have like a big following, didn't really know many people. And I came to realize what a lot of us in this room did, which is the world of podcasting. We launched a show in Denver called Mile High Mentors, ran that for 3 years. We actually started it was going to be a television show that aired on TV. And I started realizing as I'm connecting with guests, we eventually evolved it to a podcast, connecting with guests, building content. All of a sudden, our sales went up. Now, I want to point something else out here in the time that I have, because I know we've talked about podcasts a lot, and video and podcasts. You do not need a podcast to get the same benefits that a podcast provides for you. I call this a collaboration funnel. You can go to your prospects, go to your audience. I know especially podcasting, you want a lot of podcasts, you interview famous people. I started doing this with prospects. So I started interviewing prospects, but you can do this with blogs. You can do this with guest content. I started reaching out to my prospects and saying, hey, Mr. CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, those are the guys I'm selling to. We have an audience of other marketing directors, CMOs that would love to learn about you, love to learn about your career. Would you be willing to contribute some content so we can share and get it in front of them? And then the influence started happening in the industry. And so this is just snowballed from there. We good for another two? Okay. So everything just starts, I'm like, okay, this is amazing. We can have somebody submit a guest blog to us. I can read it off into the camera, and now I have video. So there's a lot of ways to leverage video, even if you are not creating video. I know it's also difficult to come up with content, right? How difficult is it to come up with ideas? You may be comfortable on camera, you may be great on camera, but coming up with content ideas is also a challenge. So this is another really creative way that I've leveraged other people to help come up with ideas. I ask my prospects, hey, what problems are you having? What challenges are you having? I socially listen into my clients, and I just write these down and create infinite amount of video content out of it. Last thing, and I'll wrap up with this. Own your audience. Email. How many think email's dead? Good, we're in the right room. Email's not dead, but I've heard a lot of people say this. Own your audience. You should have intention if you're putting video out there. So use your video to get people onto your in-house list, all your social media channels. You can have 1 million followers on social media, and it can go away tomorrow, okay? So get those people on your email list and use video to consistently, number one, reach them. Everybody say reach. Reach and consistency. Use all these channels, use other people, use the questions to come up with ideas, and stay at it, right? Nothing's perfect. Perfection, we're too worried about perfection when it comes to video, but perfection comes from repetition, putting in the reps, getting out there consistently. With that, guys, if you like this content, please go check out my podcast, B2B Mentors. It's on all your favorite podcast apps. And thank you. Appreciate it.
A round of applause. Thank you, Connor.